So, um, so that was really what got me started with it. And then I put a challenge out to all the other pre-K and preschool teachers in the county to do that for their students as well. And my kids absolutely loved it. I had one of my students tell his mom, Miss Lindsay made that video just for me, and they were just so excited to know that their teacher cared about them and was excited to have them back in school. So that was my first kind of steps into iMovie, and then from there we've just kind of we use it every day in our classroom. So just a couple of things, just some tips that I want to share with you that I have found useful in using iMovie before we get started into actually the tools and how to edit in iMovie. So I prefer editing on my laptop. If you have the iMovie app on your iPad, you certainly can do it. You can do that, but I prefer using my laptop just because that's what I've gotten used to doing. If you are recording, I prefer to record in landscape, which is this way. If you want to, you can record in portrait. It's a narrower view of your video, but it's up to you and whatever your subject matter is. So it's just a personal preference. If you have a microphone, definitely use it when you are recording your videos. We were having some issues with some of our students not being able to hear us very well if we didn't use a microphone. If you don't have a microphone, just make sure that you are speaking clearly and that you're speaking fairly loudly, not yelling, but just projecting really well. And I know as teachers, we all have that teacher voice and we can project really well. So that's just something you just need to keep in mind. If you are going to be videoing someone else, like you are going out to do a virtual field trip and you are going to be videoing somebody in the community, you may just want to have a quick chat with them before you actually video them, just to talk with them about how to speak, just to be very careful with how they speak as far as articulating their words, and then speaking slowly and speaking maybe a little more loudly than they would normally. And then if you don't have a microphone, you might just want to try to get as close to them as possible. I am going to show you some ways that you can boost the volume of your video while you're editing it. You can boost it a little bit, but it really does help if, as you're recording, you get the volume as loud as you can while you're recording. When you are making a video for like if you're doing a virtual field trip or you're just making a video, it really helps while you're editing if you will pause if you're going to change topics or if you are going to change locations. So if you're panning from one location to another, if you can just pause talking, it makes it, when you go in to edit and you're going to split your clips, it makes it a little bit easier on you. And then the last thing is AirDrop. And I'm going to show you how to do that just in case you don't know, but that's how I get all of my videos from my iPad to my laptop, is to AirDrop. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to do that. All right, hold on. Hey, can you shut my door too? Thanks. All right. Sorry, guys. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you just to show you how to AirDrop, just in case, or how to AirDrop, just in case you don't know. All right, so what you're going to do is you are going, let me move this out of the way. You're going to make sure that you just have your browser, all of your browsers, all of your tabs are minimized. So you're going to go up to the top where you have the Finder, File, Edit, View. So to AirDrop, go to Go. Click on Go and go down to AirDrop. And then any Mac device that is open is going to show up here. So if I turn my iPad on, then you see my iPad pops up. And then all you would do is you would grab a file. So I'm going to grab this letter bingo game that I made, and then I would just drag it into onto the name of it. And you see it's waiting. And then you would just accept it on the other device. And then you can see it's already shared. So it's pretty easy. That's just a really quick, easy way to do it. I found that's the quickest way to do it. You just make sure you don't leave the room until your file is completely shared. Images, PDFs, pictures, they are pretty quick to download. They're almost instantaneous. Videos can take a couple of minutes, just depending on how large your file is. All right, so before we go any further, just if you do have any questions or comments, if you can just put them in the chat, and then we'll be pausing occasionally to look over the things that any questions or comments that you have in the chat. Or if it's something you really want to ask or say like right away, feel free to unmute yourself and just interrupt me. So we're all here learning together. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to again, this is just an introductory session to iMovie. So how do we open iMovie? So I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to minimize me and share my screen with you and for pretty much the rest of the session. All right, share my screen. And I'm going to open up the chat and just keep it over to the side. All right, so iMovie is down here at the bottom in your dock, and it's a purple star. If you don't have the purple star there, then you can go up to the top of your screen to the magnifying glass and click on it, and you can do a search for iMovie. And then you can, if you really like using it, then you can always move it into your dock and keep it down there permanently. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to open iMovie up. And actually, I've already got it open down here at the bottom of my screen. So when you open iMovie for the first time, this is what's going to pop up. And you can see you've got create new, and that's where we're going to start. But then we also have some other things in here. These are my movie and practice were just some things that I have just been kind of playing around with and just to learn some new features. And then this see you soon is my movie trailer that I showed you at the beginning of the session. So let's go into create new, because that's how you're going to get started. So we're going to click on this, and you're going to see you have two options. So you've got a movie option, or you've got a trailer option. And the trailer option is what I started with this summer. And that's how I made my movie trailer to welcome my kids back to school. And the fun thing about movie trailers is it's really an easy way to get introduced to iMovie because it has a lot of the same features, but you have a set template that you have to follow. So it has all the audio that you heard, all the sounds and everything that you heard. And you have to, very little of the artwork and the creative stuff is really taken out of it. All you do is enter the images or the pictures that you want to include, and then your text. Really easy, really fun. Ms. Drake and I have been talking about ways that we can use it in the classroom, and I think our kids would really enjoy it. The other thing, and this is really what I want to focus on today, is movie. So this is where if you were going to make a movie or a video for your class, whether it was a movie or a video about content material or a virtual field trip, this is where you would go. So we're going to click on that. We're going to actually make a video today. All right, so I'm going to click on this. We're going to create a new one. All right, so this is what's going to pop up. And you can see I don't have anything in here right now. So let's go over just the different parts of the iMovie screen. All right, so if you need to get back to projects, you come up here to the top, you click on that, and it will take you, it'll ask you to save your project. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to put in here Coffee PD. All right. And so then we're back to that projects page, and you can see my Coffee PD is here. So we're going to go back into it. All right. So just the different parts of iMovie. So up here is the browser, and this is where all of your clips, your pictures, your images, and your videos, where you're going to import them, this is where they're going to show up. Your library is over here. These are things that you have made in the past. This is your library where you've got clips and videos that you've saved. Your viewer is right here. It's this upper right-hand corner. And as you are making your video, that's where your video is going to show up. So you can go through it just kind of frame by frame to see what it's going to look like before you upload it to your desktop. And then at the bottom is your project frame down here. And this is where you're going to drag all of your video clips and your pictures from the browser from up here. You're going to drag all of them down here in order to make your movie. All right, so let's go back up to the top. So primarily you're going to be working in this tab where it says My Media. That's what you see right now. Now you do have an audio tab where you can import audio from iTunes or other audio clips that you have on your laptop. Titles, this would be something if you wanted to add a title frame to, or a title image to the beginning of your video. Backgrounds, and I really haven't played around with this tab at all, but this is just for backgrounds if you wanted to add just something extra to your movie. And then transitions, you'll also be using transitions a lot. And this just gives you different transitions if you're going to move from one picture to another picture, or you've split a clip and you're going from one frame in your clip to another frame, you can transition, and it's just a little more polished way to transition. All right, so let's go back to My Media, and we are going to import a video. And I made a video this morning when I got to school of just, it's a video of me walking from the bus port down into my classroom, through the school, just a brief tour of the school for my preschool students. So I'm going to import it. So to import it, you're going to click on this arrow right here at the top, the down arrow. All right. And I saved it to my desktop. And you can see, you can import videos, you can import pictures, you can import PDFs, you can import JPEGs, PNGs. So there's lots of things that you can import. All right, so we are going to, let me get to it. We are going to import, it was this video. All right, so I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on import selected at the very bottom, and you can see it popped up right here. If you want to import multiple files, I'll show you that too. So go back to your arrow to import, click on that. And let's say I wanted to, we're just gonna import some images that I have saved. All right, so let's say I'm going to import, let me move this out of the way. All right, I want to import these 3 items: construction paper, crayons, and a dry erase marker. So I'm going to click on the top one. And then I'm going to click on Command. And I can click on any one that I want to add. All right. If you want to click on a bunch that are all in a row, so that's one way to do it. You can also click on the top one and then press Shift and hold it down and click on like 4 or 5 down, and you can import a bunch that way. And then you would import those selected ones, and then you can see they all show up. All right, so let's say I get those images in and I really don't want all of them, and I'm not going to use some of them. So I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to click on this dry erase marker, and you can see the yellow box showed up around it, and the plus sign. I'm going to I'm going to click on it. I'm holding, so what I'm doing, hold on. So I'm going to hold down the control key, click on the dry erase marker, and you see that you've got a variety of things you can do. I'm going to delete it from the event. Yes, I want to delete it from my movie library, and then it disappears completely. So if your browser is getting too cluttered at the top with a bunch of images and clips, and that's how you can get rid of it. All right, so but let's move this video down into my project frame. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on it. So it's highlighted again. And there's two ways you can do this. You can either click on just click on it, and as you're holding it, drag it down, or you can click on it and then there's the plus sign, and you're just going to click on the plus sign and it will just automatically put it down into your project frame. All right, but I don't need both of them, so I'm going to get rid of it. So I'm going to highlight it, click on Control, then click on the frame again, and I'm going to delete it. And then it's gone from the project frame, but I still have it to work with. All right, so that's how you move, that's how you import your images and then move them down into the project frame. All right, I'm gonna check the chat just briefly to see if there's any comments or anything. Let me get it moved over. All right, so yeah, a lot of people are saying airdrop is definitely essential, and Bill is definitely saying airdrop is definitely the way to go. All right, and one of the other pre-K teachers in the county said that her kids really enjoyed her trailer that she made at the beginning of the year. All right, so now we've got this video down in here. We want to work with it. We want to edit it. All right, so I actually am going to pull down some images too, just so we'll have something else to work with. So I'm going to click on a couple of these. All right, so now we've got a few things down in here, and you can rearrange them as well. So we can click on it and you can move images around and change the order if you want. And it'll kind of move things around. So if you've put your images in and you don't like the way they are, you can reorder them in your project frame down at the bottom. All right, so let's talk about some of the editing tools that you have. So we're going to come over here to the browser, and you see the picture of the cafeteria, or not the browser, but the viewer, sorry. You see the picture of the cafeteria, and then you've got all these little icons up here at the top. So let's explore some of them. We're not going to talk about all of them today because again, we're just introducing iMovie, and I'm going to show you some things that I've used that have really been very, very helpful. All right, so we're going to work with the crayon picture. All right, so before we start talking about the editing tools, let me show you how to navigate through your clips. All right, so as you can see down here at the bottom, there is a white, everywhere my cursor is, you see the white line. As you can watch the browser, as I move the cursor through, you can see in the viewer how it's moving through the frames or the clips. All right, but the really faint white line with the arrow at the top, that's actually where you're at in your project. So if you go to the top of that white line, you'll see you could grab it, a little hand shows up, and you can grab that white line and you can move it. So we're going to move it back to the beginning of that crayon, and then we can move it. So you can actually manipulate where you want to be in your project. All right, so let's edit a little bit of this. We're going to work on editing this crayon box. All right, so it is highlighted. You can see there is a yellow box around the crayon that's in the project frame at the bottom. And the first thing we're going to work on is crop. So you see the cropping tool at the top, and it is highlighted. It's in blue. It looks like a little rectangle. We're going to click on that. And you've got 3 options for cropping. You also have the option over here to the right to rotate it. So I can, and all of this is going to show up in your viewer. So this, you're going to work in your viewer first, and it's going to show you what it's, the final product is going to look like. All right, so we can rotate your image. Right, that's one thing you can do. If you click on fit, that's just going to give you the picture is going to just be that size for the entire duration of your clip. No matter how many seconds your clip is going to show up in your video, that's what it's going to look like. If you click on crop to fill, you actually have the image option to make it bigger. And some of them are easier than others. Like this one, we don't really have the well, you do have the option to make it a little bigger, but you're going to pick up a lot of black screen around it. And you also have the option of clicking on the plus sign, and then you can move the frame, you can move the focus up and down. But if I use crop to fill, whatever I use here, whatever you see here is again what's going to fill the entire screen for the entire time that that picture is displayed in your project. All right, the Ken Burns effect is really a lot of fun. And I did this, I made actually a memorial video for my mother-in-law who passed away, and we just did lots of pictures of her life, and we use this, and it's just a nice way to kind of highlight or focus on something. So as you can see on the Ken Burns effect, you've got 2 boxes. You've got, and it's kind of hard to see on some video, on some images, but you've got a start box and you've got an end box. So the start box is where the clip is going to start showing, where the first thing you're going to see when that clip pops up. And then we're going to click on, and then the arrow right here is showing how the clip is going to move. And then your end box, this is what it's going to move to. So this is what you would see. So we're going to use that just so you can kind of get an idea of what it would look, what a Ken Burns effect would look like. And I'm going to click on the check mark. All right. And we are going to, I'm going to move I'm going back to the project frame, and I'm going to grab that faint white line, and I'm going to move it back to the beginning of that clip. All right. And then I'm going to push the play button in the viewer, and you can also use the space bar or to play, or you can use the play button up here. I'm just going to use the play button at the top. I'm going to click on this. All right, and then so you can see, and it jumped over into the next video that I put in. So you can see how the Ken Burns effect works. It's kind of a neat effect. All right, so let's go. I'm going to show you how to boost the volume of your video. So I'm going to go into my video, and this obviously you can only do if you're working with a video that already has audio to it. So this morning when I was recording my video, I did not have a microphone with me. So let's say I really want to boost the volume. So I'm going to come up here, or I'm going to always highlight your frames in the project frame at the bottom. All right, so it's yellow, it's highlighted. And I'm going to click on the volume button at the top above the viewer. All right, so you've got some options here. So you see right here, you've got the option to adjust the volume. So I can make the volume go down, or I can make it go all the way up. When you are working with it, typically this is going to be just at 100%. So, but I'm going to go ahead and boost it all the way up to 400%, and it will help some. It's not going to make it extraordinarily loud, but it will definitely help boost it some. I'm also going to go back down to 100% because I'm going to show you a different way to do it in a minute. And then you also have the option over here of lowering the volume of the other clips. I haven't done that yet because all of my clips have been at the same volume, but that might be something that you can do. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the background noise. So we're going to come over here. It's the next one to the right. And you can actually reduce the background noise. So if you are in a really crowded room or you're outside and it's really windy, like Ms. Drake and I went to Turtle Creek Farm and it was really windy that day. So I reduced the background noise in a couple of my clips so that the kids would be able to hear us a little better. And you can do this on individual clips. So whatever clip you're working on, that's the only one that this is going to apply to at the time. Same thing for the volume. So like for this clip, I know that I want to go in and I want to edit this clip. I'm going to split the clip into a bunch of different smaller clips. So the first thing that you might want to do is go in and just play with the volume and increase the volume for the entire clip first, or reduce the background noise for the entire clip so that you don't have to go back in and do it for each individual clip. All right, so we talked about how to navigate through. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute, and we're going to come back to our Zoom window. I feel like I've been talking a lot, and I want you to kind of start processing and really thinking about iMovie. So I want you to take a minute or two. We're just going to stop for a quick break. Think about what I've talked about, and I want you to start thinking about ways that you can use iMovie in your classroom and start making that list, whether you're writing it down on a piece of paper, you're putting a note in your phone, you're texting a friend or a colleague, or go ahead and start thinking about that. Shoot some ideas out on the chat as well. Anybody want to share any ideas, or does anybody have any comments or questions about what we've talked about so far? We've still got a lot to cover. If you need to get up and stretch, take a little brain break or something. I know it's just as important for us to get those brain breaks as it is for the kids throughout the day. Yes, so anticipatory sets. That's a great idea, Brandy Gray. This would definitely be a way to grab your kids' attention at the beginning of a lesson. Let's see, get back up into the chat. Erin Harcum said using it to create videos of herself reading books aloud. That's also a great way I love that idea. Ms. Crystal Brownfield, it'd be cool to make little clips to introduce new topics. Yes, I think this is a great way to grab kids' attention and get them excited about new concepts or new topics.
Sandra.
Yes.
I think it'll be really neat especially for me with science, doing science experiments.
That would be awesome. I think that that would be a great way to do it. And really, there's so many ways that you can do that. And I would love, if anybody does make a video in iMovie, I would love to see your ideas and how you've used it in your classroom. We have so many amazing teachers and staff in the county, and y'all just have so many wonderful ideas and creative ideas. And I know that if we work together and we kind of pick each other's brains and we piggyback off of each other, I know we can come up with some amazing stuff. Guest speaker clips. Using it to record their whole group lessons. So your pre-recorded videos like we use in pre-K. Olivia Davis just said she uses iMovie to record her whole group lessons that we put out for our kids. Using, again, Julie Darden said the same thing, DD Majette, guest speaker clips, project-based learning, virtual reading night. Yes, so many different ways to do that. All right, so let's get back into, I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to get back in, and I'm going to show you how to actually go in and edit an actual clip and add transitions and actually add some audio of your own voice. All right, so let's get back in here. All right, so we're back into iMovie, and I want to work with this video that I made this morning. So I want to make it longer, and you can see that I'm gonna click on it to highlight it so that I know that I'm working with this. And I'm gonna come over here to the right side under the viewer, and where you see it says settings, and you've got an arrow. Now watch what happens to that frame as I move the arrow. The video gets longer and gets stretched out. So if you're going to edit a video, you need to move the arrow to the right. And you're just going to have to play around with that and see how far to the right you need to make it in order to edit anything. All right, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it back over. And so you see, you can, this is the best way I found to move through iMovie, is just to grab that arrow and then move it. Okay, so I'm going to just play this video, and then I'm going to come to a stopping point where, well, before we edit it, I'm sorry, before we start clipping it, let me show you what it's going to look like at the bottom when you do increase your volume. All right, so as you can see in this stretched out video clip that I have in the project frame, you can see underneath the video clip, there's a blue rectangle, a blue box, and you can see the white, that's basically your volume. That the blue is your audio that was your recorded audio from your video that you made. All right, you can see there is a horizontal little white line in the blue box. That is the volume level of that current video. And then the white that's underneath that line is your background noise. All right, so let's go back into the volume button at the top above the viewer. Watch what happens to the white line in that blue box, that horizontal white line, when I increase the volume. So I'm going to increase it to 400%. So you can see that white line goes up, but you can see at the same time, then kind of the background noise gets louder too. So you have to play around to find that balance between the volume and the background noise, because you definitely don't want the background noise to be a distraction. So we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it right here at, we're going to go back to 100%. Okay. All right. And then if you come over here to the noise reduction and stabilizer, again, watch what happens in that blue clip as I adjust the background noise. If I reduce it, let me click on this. It's not, it's not, oh, did I click on that? Okay, there must not be enough. Oh, sorry guys. So you actually have to click on the little box beside reduce background noise. So I've highlighted it, and now I can reduce it so you can see, you can watch the background noise in that blue box change slightly as I do this. So we're going to leave it at 50%. All right, let me go. All right, so let's go into editing. All right. All right, so we're going to split this clip. So I'm going to drag this white line back over to the beginning of my clip. And really the only way to do this is just to play the clip. I usually have to play it 2 or 3 times till I find that spot that I want, and then just kind of move it back and forth a little bit until I get it to the exact right spot. All right, so we started off in the bus port. I was just showing the students where the bus was and how they would get off the bus. All right, so you're going to hear me talking. Morning, boys and girls. So this is Miss Lindsay, and we're going to take a. All right, and you heard that's with just 100%. That was at 100% volume. So let's see what happens if we increase the volume to 400%. I'm going to go back just so you can see the difference. And again, I was recording this without a microphone this morning. So I'm going to push play. Let's see how much louder it is. Good morning, boys and girls. So this is Miss Lindsay, and and you can hear that it was a lot louder in that second clip. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 400%. And then if we need to adjust some of the background noise, we can. All right. Take a tour of the school. All right. I don't like the way that I introduced myself because I wasn't very fluent in my speech when I first started talking. So I want to go back and I'm going to drag that back and I'm going to listen to it just a couple of times. And I'm just going to get to the point where I'm going to split that clip so I sound a little more coherent in my speech. This is Miss Lindsay, and all right, so I'm going to stop it right there because I sounded like I didn't know what I was doing or what I was going to say. So that's where we're going to split the clip. So you're going to go in, you can see you've got that white line with the arrow at the top. I'm going to take the cursor and I'm just going to move the cursor with the dark white line over that faint white line. All right. And then to do this, now I'm going to click on Control and I'm going to click on that line and you have several options that show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the clip. So I'm going to split it. And you can see you've got this little space in here. Well, I don't like the way I sounded at that first clip. So I'm going to delete that clip that I just split it from. So it's highlighted, you can see. So I'm just going to hit the delete button. And now it's gone. So this is actually the first frame in our video. All right, so I'm going to push play. Let's see, here we go. Take a tour of the school. So when you get to school. All right, so that sounded a little better. So that's how you split a clip. So again, you just would find the place that you want. Again, you have to make sure that you have in your settings, you've moved that arrow over. And it takes sometimes a couple of tries of playing and rewinding and playing and rewinding in order to find that perfect spot. And then so you would put your cursor over top of the faint white line where the arrow is, and you are going to click on Control, click on the white line, and then split the clip. All right. So that's splitting a clip. Let's talk about transitions. All right, so I want to put a transition in between this first clip and the second clip in the video. And you can put transitions between anything. So in between pictures, audio clips, video clips, you can put them anywhere. All right, so I'm going to go up to transitions, and this is where you can kind of play around and have a lot of fun. The one that I have used the most is the swap. So I'm going to put this here. And I think swap works really nicely if you have a bunch of images that you are moving between. So I'm going to split the clip somewhere else. So let's drag this somewhere else and I'm going to show you, well, actually, we'll just put it here. I'm going to show you a different option to spin out. And then we'll just choose another one, doorway. So I'm going to drag this back to the beginning of our clip or our project. And then we're just going to play through it so you can see what some of the different transitions look like. And just to move a transition, you just pick the one that you want, you click on it, and you just drag it down to where you want the transition to be. All right, so I've dragged the white line that shows me where I'm at in my project. I've dragged it back over to the beginning of the project so we can move through all of these different transitions. All right, so let's watch it. I'm going to push play in the viewer bar. Take a tour of the school. So when you get to school, a lot of you are going to. Right, so you can, and again, transitions are just something you can play around with. Now, if you click on the transition, if you click on it twice, sometimes, depending on the length of the clips that are around the transition, you can make the you can increase the duration of the transition. If you have really short clips, then you're not going to be able to increase it very much. So that might affect which transition that you choose to use. Right? Let's see, what else did I want to share with you? So let's say I was going to make a video about like vocabulary, or I was going to introduce something where I had a bunch of pictures or images, and I wanted to share audio. I wanted to actually tell the students about the images. All right, so I'm going to, let's do that. So I'm going to grab that white line. I'm going to drag it back over to the beginning of the construction paper. And I'm going to click on the microphone under the viewer bar. All right. So if you click on this, and then you have your record button, and so I'm not recording yet, but once you click on the record button, you have 3 seconds before iMovie starts recording you. And what's going to happen is you're going to see underneath the construction paper in the project frame, it's going to show up green where you've put in an audio recording. So I'm going to record something, and let's see, I don't have very long for that. Okay. So I'm going to record something. So we use construction paper in pre-K. All right, so you can see I have green is underneath, and that shows what I was saying when that image was there. So let's go back and listen to that. So we're at again, that white line is at the beginning of that clip. So I'm gonna click on done, because I'm done recording, and I'm gonna push the play button just to see what it's like. So we use construction paper in pre-K. Right? So if you have images that you want to add audio to, that is definitely one way to do it. You can, up in the upper left corner, there is an option for you to add audio. And again, this would be like files or clips that you have from your laptop that you've downloaded. So, but this is just a quick way to put that in here. All right, last couple of things just to talk about. You saw that if I go back to projects, let's click on go back to projects, because you're probably wondering, well, how is that saved? Well, you notice when we first opened it up and I clicked on going back to projects, it actually made me name my project. So you actually don't have to go in and save your project. It automatically does it for you. So if I go back to projects at the top, you can see here's my coffee PD, and I'm going to click on it. And that has everything that we have done today to that. So the last thing I wanted to share with you is how do you get this off of iMovie? So go to the top right-hand corner, the little box with the up arrow, and you're going to share it. So I'm going to click on this. And this is something I've played around with a lot. I have not been successful sharing it directly to YouTube, and that's fine. So I just normally go into File. I click on File, and I go ahead and click on Next, because that is, well, you can come in here and you can rename the video if you want, but that just gives you the information about it. And you would click on Next. And it's going to ask you where you want to save it to. So saving it to your desktop or wherever you have your file is fine. And then you would click on Save, and it would go directly to there. I'm going to cancel that because I'm not going to save this one. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing and get back into our Zoom screen. All right. Okay, I'm looking over in the chat. Let's see. See, Miss Darden, Julie Darden said that using iMovie is a good way to show student work. She said it also makes it easier if you pay attention to the time while you're listening, you know where to delete. Yes, so when you're editing, that's a good point, Miss Darden. Thank you for bringing that up. When you're going in and you're editing your movie and you're looking to how to split the clip, if you'll pay attention to the time in iMovie where you're at, the seconds, that way you know exactly, you know kind of where you need to be. Aaron Harcum said, and if you need a longer speaking time, you can stretch the picture out so it doesn't move so quickly. Yes, you can make your images longer. So if you've got an image, instead of an image just going through just in a couple of seconds, you actually can drag them out and make them longer. All right. Any questions or comments, thoughts? We've got just about 6 or 7 more minutes before we're officially done. Another thing that I have done is I've recorded videos in QuickTime Player and just movie recordings or screen recordings. And then I've uploaded those clips into my iMovies too. And I've incorporated those into our pre-recorded videos that we use in pre-K and preschool for our whole group lesson. All right, questions or concerns, thoughts? All right, so y'all had some really great ideas as far as some different ways that you can use iMovie in your classroom. I look forward to hearing and seeing some of your videos and hearing more about how you're using it. And as we all become more proficient with it, you know, hopefully we can do another PD where we can do something a little more advanced PD on iMovie, and we can also talk about QuickTime Player because that's been a really useful tool as well to make instructional videos. Ms. Drake and I have used QuickTime Player and iMovie both to make videos for parents. That's another way that you can use iMovie is to make, we sent home kits, learning supply kits, the beginning of the school year for all of our pre-K and preschool students. And so Ms. Drake and I sat down and we went through the boxes and we showed the parents everything that was in the kits and what our expectations were, how we expect the children to use them and what we expect them to be able to do. And just to give some a brief tutorial to the parents on how to help their children and how to support their children in their learning with their materials. So that's another way that you can use iMovie. It's not just in the classroom, but as a tutorial or a consultation with for the parents, especially during this time of virtual learning. And we are working so much as a team with our parents. We really rely on them to help support our kids at home. So just really briefly, there's going to be a few questions I know that y'all have to answer at the end of each of these sessions. So I want to go over the questions with you just to make sure that you've got the answers. So one of the questions is 2 ways to use iMovie. Obviously, that is an open-ended question. However you would use it in your classroom. I'm just really interested to see all the different ways. I'm excited to see what y'all think about iMovie. There's going to be a question on how to make the audio louder. And remember, there's 2 ways that, well, I showed you one of the ways. You can go to the megaphone or the speaker at the top of the viewer and you can make it louder there. If you play around with it, you're going to figure out that you can actually drag that horizontal white line that's in the blue bar underneath your clips. You can drag that up and down to make the audio louder. How do you move a clip into the project frame? Remember, there's 2 ways to do that. You can drag and drop, or you can click on the clip and then click on the plus sign. What's the difference between movies and trailers? Remember, trailers have that preset template. They're really a lot of fun to work with. I would suggest doing that first, just kind of getting your feet wet. It's just something short. You don't have to worry about editing as far as splitting clips and adding audio. And it's just something really a lot of fun. I know Miss Henson at here at Meharon and her daughter did a trailer about a book that her daughter had been reading, and that was just a lot of fun to watch too. Then the last question was, how do you upload a video to your desktop? Remember, you go to the top right hand corner and the box with the up arrow, you click on that and it uploads it to your laptop. And then from there, once you have it on your desktop, then you can share it however you want, whether you're airdropping it to somebody else or you're going to upload it to YouTube. In pre-K and at Meharon for our pre-K and preschool students. We have an unlisted YouTube playlist, and we have uploaded all of our videos to that for our students to watch. And then from our YouTube playlist, we've gone in and grabbed those videos and embedded them into our Schoology account so our students can watch them that way as well. So any last thoughts, questions, comments? Thank you, everybody, for the kind words. This was my first coffee PD. I really love using iMovie. I'm very excited about it. I am by no means an expert. I am learning just like everybody else. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, either call me at Meharon or you can send me an email, send me a message through Schoology. I'll be happy to help or answer any questions. But again, thank you so much for having faith in me and joining me on this Friday morning. I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy your weekend and please find time to spend time with your families and your friends and to do something that you want to do this weekend. Take care of yourself. All right. Thank y'all all so much. See y'all next Friday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm gonna end the recording.